What's up, guys? Tate on All Sports Central. I'm going to be going over my NFL playoff predictions for the 2019-2020 season. And this is going to be an interesting season for sure to see who's going to make the playoffs. Very competitive, especially in the AFC. There's several divisions. I mean, you got the Browns in the AFC North. You got the Steelers and the Ravens. Those are three teams that are really going to be vying in for a spot. We're going to be going over who I think is going to make it out of them in this video. And then, of course, on the NFC side, you got the Rams again. You got the Saints. All of those teams. Will the Packers be able to make it back to the playoffs for the first time in 3 years? Another thing we'll be going over. We're also going to be going over my top 12 teams for every conference. We're not going to be going over all 16. That's going to be in a different video. Starting off with your AFC playoff picture going into 2019, this is kind of what I expect. Chiefs and Patriots will be your top two once again in the 2019 season. They're going to go 12-4. I mean, really, most of the time, the first two seeds in the conferences aren't the same year to year, but I'm pretty confident. I mean, you got the Chiefs, Pat Mahomes, excellent offense. They're losing Kareem Hunt, or they lost Kareem Hunt, but I mean, that shouldn't be much of a difference. I mean, you got a great receiver core as well. Defense has been great. For the Patriots, of course, you got Tom Brady, excellent offense there. They are losing Gronk, so it'll be interesting to see how they can cope with that, and then their defense, of course, needs to improve a little bit too to be able to continue to win Super Bowls. I'm expecting those top two seeds to remain the same going into this season. Texans are going to be my number 3. They're going to go 11-5. I have a lot of faith in this team. I think they're going to do pretty well. Deshaun Watson, I think, is an excellent quarterback, and he'll be able to do some great things this season as he gains experience in the NFL. Their defense was the best in the country last season, I believe. In total defense, they were placed number 1, so that is something to note there. Their defense is really going to help them lead on into the playoffs. Their offense, though, isn't as great. Once again, you got Deshaun Watson, but your running back core isn't very good. You got Lamar Miller, Dante Foreman, and then you got for your receiver core, nothing really too notable there. You got Hopkins, of course, but really for Texans, I think on offense, that's going to be their main issue. Steelers, then, that's going to be the interesting one. I mean, you got Steelers, Browns, Ravens. All three of those teams are very likely. But all three of those teams could make the playoffs next season, no doubt. But the thing is that two of those teams, if the Colts don't show up, will not make the playoffs. So I'm going to give it to the Steelers right now. They are the most experienced team out of those three. Ravens, I mean, they're losing a few players. Browns have a ton of potential to go on and surprise a lot of people this season, even though I don't really expect I mean, they're so hyped up right now. I mean, I don't think many people will be surprised. But they've got tons of very talented players, Mayfield, and they're just getting all these signees right now, so that's going to be interesting to see how they do next season. But I think the analysts that are saying the Browns are going to go on, possibly make it deep into the playoffs, this may just be me right now, but I'm not expecting that to happen. I mean, you got to consider the Browns went 0-16 a couple seasons ago, and a rebuild like that to be able to go in 2 years all the way to like the Super Bowl is extremely unlikely. I mean, the Steelers are a more experienced team. Ben Roethlisberger, of course, at quarterback. He's okay. I mean, he's starting to slow down a little bit. Not as good as he once was, at least. Then you don't have Le'Veon Bell anymore, but you do have James Conner, who is excellent. We saw that last season. Juju Smith-Schuster at wide receiver. He'll likely be their top receiver since they're losing Antonio Brown. It'll be interesting to see for sure who wins that division. I think it's going to be the Steelers right now, mostly based off of experience and also that they've consistently been able to make it to the playoffs. Chargers are going to be my number 5. Same thing as last year. They're going to go 11-5. Too much potential in that team to give up on. I mean, you got Melvin Gordon. The thing is, though, you got to consider Melvin Gordon's holding out right now because he wants a new contract, like all these NFL players are doing. I think it's kind of stupid, but for the Chargers, he's holding out. And so if he somehow, or it's very unlikely that he doesn't play this season because of that, but if he does, then the Chargers can expect possibly a reduced number of wins. You do have Austin Eckler, who's his second running back. But honestly, though, I mean, if you're losing Gordon, you're losing basically the best player on your offense, and that's going to be very difficult to cope with. Then you got, nonetheless, I'm still expecting them to go number 5 right now, assuming that Melvin Gordon will be playing next season. The Colts are going to be my number 6. They're going to go 10-6 next season. They're going to be the second from the AFC South, along with the Texans. Really lots to hope for this team. Andrew Luck. They're losing a few players on their offense. Their defense is okay, but I do expect them to get the number 6 spot. But of course, the Browns, of course, they could steal that spot. It's all tiebreakers, so every game matters for all these teams next season. AFC is very competitive once again, very competitive conference. Really, any of these top 8 teams could easily make it. You could even consider the Titans could surprise some people and make it, but I'm not really expecting that. I have them going 8-8. Not much potential on that team. Defense isn't good enough. Broncos then at number 10. A lot of people are saying Broncos could end up only getting like 4 wins or below. I think they're going to get 7. I'm going to give them a 7-9 record. Jaguars, of course. They weren't. Kind of surprised me how bad they were last season. But I think they're going to get back to 7-9 this year. If they can pull a surpriser and go 11-5, make it to the AFC Championship game again, I'd be surprised next year for that. But of course, the NFL always surprises a lot of times. In the AFC playoffs, of course. The Colts were a surprise team last year. It'll be interesting to see, though, how the Jaguars especially will be able to do. I'm going to give the Jets that number 12 spot. I'm going to give them 7 wins this season as well. I think they're going to be able to rebuild a little bit. They're gaining some much-needed players. You got Le'Veon Bell finally there. That's going to help a ton. Quarterback Sam Darnold. He'll be okay, I guess. But the Jets will be able to get up to that 12 spot this season. Positions 13 through 16 we'll be going over in another video for both conferences. In the NFC side, you got the Saints. I'm going to give them that number 1 spot. They're going to finish first in the NFC next season. 12-4 record is what I'm expecting. Too much talent on that team to give up on and to ignore. Your offense is excellent. They're all losing Mark Ingram, but you got Alvin Kamara, who really is excellent. Drew Brees is starting to slow down a little bit, it seems like, but he's still an excellent quarterback as well. Receiving core also looks great. Michael Thomas is holding out right now as well. Lots of players are doing that right now, especially the big key players. But I do expect Michael Thomas to eventually be able to play for this team. But he's their best wide receiver. They got an excellent offense, extremely highly scoring. We saw that last year many times. The defense hopefully they can improve a little bit. If they can improve, that will be amazing. This team could easily go on. I expect them to go deep into the playoffs. We'll go over that once again in a little bit. Bears, I'm giving that number 2 spot on. People are kind of doubting the Bears a little bit just because of their offense, Mitchell Trubisky, but he's gaining experience. They don't have Jordan Howard anymore. They're losing a few players that could be key, they could be factors, but for the Bears, of course, their defense is still excellent. That's also kind of like the Texans in that factor. Their offense isn't as good, but their defense is great. That's kind of how it's going to be for the Bears. I think they're kind of a sneaky team this season. Cowboys are going to be my number 3. I kind of considered, those 3, 4, and 6 positions really are a toss-up for me. The Rams, of course, could easily make it in front of the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks win it in a tiebreaker. Ends up throwing them to a number 6 spot. But the Cowboys, I'm going to give 11 wins next season. That's going to give them that number 3 position. I think this team, they've been great the last few seasons. Especially that one time when they had Dak Prescott come out of absolutely nowhere. He hasn't really done as great since, but Ezekiel Elliott, of course, even him, he's another player currently that's holding out. This is late July, and we're seeing teams holding out at a training camp. So really, things could still change over the next month or so. That's just kind of what's happening right now. But the Cowboys, if they don't have Zeke going into this season, I don't even expect them to make the playoffs. He's definitely their most talented player on their offense, and Dak Prescott's going to really need to be able to step up if he can get to that position. Another thing that I'm expecting the Cowboys to do, we saw them at the end of last season. Once they got Amari Cooper, they did really well. They were able to win many of their last games, and they sort of made a playoff run. But really, the Cowboys, they are going to be a dangerous team this season. Seahawks, once again, number 4. They're kind of a young team this season, but I do expect them to do pretty well. Packers at number 5. They're going to make the playoffs for the first time in 3 years. So that's going to be something to note there. With Aaron Rodgers starting to become a little bit of an older quarterback, you kind of have to wonder how many years that he's still got on him, especially with the injuries that he's had over the past couple of years. But for the Packers, though, I expect them to go 11-5. They're going to make the playoffs, and it's very possible that they can make a run. If they can get past the Seahawks, I mean, really, sky's the limit. But once again, we'll be going over this in a little bit. I'm kind of going over it right now as well. But then back to the Rams, another team. I mean, they should easily make the playoffs. Most people say, at least. I think they're not going to be as good this year as they were last year. Just primarily with Todd Gurley, he's been kind of injured. His knee's kind of been bugging him a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see how long he'll be able to play this season. I honestly think, if his knee keeps giving out on him and they have to retreat to a different running back, I think Henderson's their other running back right now. He doesn't have much experience. It'll be interesting to see how the Rams do. You got your running back is one of the main keys to this offense. Really, receiver-wise, they are doing great. You got Woods, Kupp. So excellent receiving core. Goff has all of his weapons, but it just depends on how Jared Goff is going to do. He needs to be able to step up this season and be a quarterback that can be elite. Eagles are my number 7. I think a few people are going to be kind of angry about that one, me not including the Eagles in the playoffs, but I think they're just going to edge it. So competitive in the AFC and NFC this season, I think. You got tiebreakers determining a lot of games, I think. The Eagles are just going to edge it. They're not going to make it, but it's going to be really close. Vikings are my number 8. They're going to go 9-7. Once again, another team that could easily make the playoffs. Same as the Falcons. They're my number 9. Panthers could do it as well, but I think they're in a very tough division. NFC is going to be kind of tough this season. They're going to go 8-8. 49ers are going to be my number 11. People were really hyping them up last season until Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt. So he'll likely be back this season, but you have to wonder how Garoppolo is going to be able to do. People were hyping it up, and they're not really doing it this season. You gotta remember, Garoppolo, once he got to this team in 2017, they ended up doing pretty well. So with him being back, if he can be healthy, 49ers could get 7-8 wins next season. Lions are my number 12. They're gonna go 6-10. Not much potential really out of them. Now looking at my playoff picture, here's what you got. Once again, Chiefs are my number 1, Patriots 2, Texans 3, Steelers 4, Chargers 5, and Colts 6 on the AFC side. So your games are the Steelers at home against the Chargers, and then the Texans at home against the Colts. NFC side, you got Saints number 1, Bears number 2, Cowboys 3, Seahawks 4. All those are going to be hosts. And then 5 is going to be the Packers. They're going to have to go to Seattle, and the Rams are going to have to go to Dallas. Kind of expecting from that first round of games, I think this Chargers, kind of like last season, are going to be able to go on the road and beat the Steelers. Lots of talent in that team. I do expect them to make it. Houston's going to win at home against the Colts. That AFC picture is kind of looking kind of similar to last year. You'll notice that. I don't really expect it to be much different. Then with the Seahawks and the Packers, I'm going to give the Packers a win there. Both road teams will win in the NFC next season. Packers just being more of a veteran team. They do have, actually, I kind of take that back. They do have a bit of a young offense, a bit of a young defense. Seahawks kind of do as well, but I do expect Packers. Aaron Rodgers is a great leader. He's going to be able to lead this team to a win in Seattle. The Rams will win in Dallas as well. The Rams are going to be kind of frustrated, I'm sure, because they could easily have that number 3 position even if they won like one more game and were able to win the division. The Rams as the number 6 seed, they're going to end up winning, and they're going to have to go back to New Orleans the next week to play the Saints. We know how that turned out in the NFC Championship game last year. And then the Bears will host the Packers. Chargers will travel to Kansas City, and the Texans will go to the Patriots. Kind of looking at those games, I think the Chiefs, they're too much of a talented team to let go of this year. I'm going to give them a win against the Chargers there. Patriots the same way. We saw them last season. They're a very tough team to beat in the playoffs. I don't think the Houston Texans can quite do that. Saints-wise, Saints and the Rams. I'm going to give the Saints the win there. Fans are going to be really fired up for that game. After the result of last year, and it's almost the same scenario, except the winner's going to the NFC Championship game. I still think the Saints are going to be fired up for that game. They're going to end up winning that. Bears and the Packers, then you've got that game. That's going to be an interesting one for sure. But I'm going to give the Packers a win there. They're going to go into Chicago and win it. I don't think the Bears are quite playoff ready to be able to make a run, even though they're going to be number 2 seed next season. I mean, Bears could have easily been 3 or 4 seed, but I'm giving the number 2 just off of one basic win. Packers win that one, so they're going to make a little bit of a playoff run in 2019, I think. So now you got your championship games, Chiefs and the Patriots, and you got the Saints and the Packers. Two very interesting games in my opinion. I mean, you got Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers going head-to-head on the NFC side, and then you got Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady once again on the AFC side. So you're going to kind of have a little bit of a repeat in the in the AFC in that matter. So it does kind of look it does look a little bit similar to last season, except for the Packers, of course. I think they're going to kind of come out of nowhere. But I think the Chiefs, though, being at home, it's going to be kind of like a role reversal this time around. I think the Chiefs are going to end up winning that game. Patriots, they are still losing quite a few players you do have to remember. I mean, Tom Brady had a great duo with Gronk, and losing him, I mean, especially right now, it's going to be kind of tough to overcome. I mean, they do have a great offense otherwise. I mean, still a great receiver core, Edelman, and running backs. They've got plenty of running backs, Michelle, Burkhead, all of them. But I think the Patriots in the end get it done. They end up winning that game. They're going to go to the Super Bowl in 2019. Saints and the Packers, very interesting one here. I kind of consider putting the Packers in this, actually. But I think in the end, Saints are a more experienced team. Packers are going to be a younger team, even though you still have Aaron Rodgers. But I think the Saints are going to be able to get it there. And Drew Brees will be very motivated in that game, I'm sure. I mean, it's at home again in the NFC Championship game. Really looking forward, if that does happen. I really hope it does, because that would be an excellent game. But the Super Bowl is going to be the Chiefs and the Saints. Two very good teams next season. Both of them are leaders in their conferences. I mean, last season we kind of saw teams kind of come out of nowhere. None of the 1 seeds made it to the Super Bowl last season. I think both 1 seeds, it kind of happens like that most years, is the 1 seeds always make it to the Super Bowl in the end. I mean, with the first round bye and being at home the entire time, that's what kind of leads it to that. But that's what's going to happen this season. Saints and Chiefs are going to be playing in the Super Bowl. And I mean, most of you guys aren't really going to agree with this, with the Super Bowl, but I'm going to actually give the Saints the win here. I think the Saints are going to win the Super Bowl next season. Drew Brees and his team is going to be very motivated. Once again, I mean, coming off of last season for sure, and the last couple of seasons for that matter, they're going to come in and win this game. Pat Mahomes, him being a young quarterback, I don't know if he'll be able to win a Super Bowl quite yet in his second year. Even though he handled the pressure great in the playoffs last season, especially against the Patriots. I mean, they were that close to a Super Bowl bid last year even. But I think the Saints are going to be able to win the Super Bowl next season. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this bracket in the comments below. I'd like to hear what you guys think. Really going to be an interesting year. Really, it's a toss-up for both conferences. Very competitive for sure. So once again, thank you guys all for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will try to get back to most of you guys that comment below. So let me know. Thank you guys all for watching. We're going over mainly college football previews right now. College football season is coming up in about a month. That's all sneaking up. Same as the NFL. Just over 5 weeks. Really looking forward to it. The best time of the year is near. Thank you guys all for watching once again. And stay tuned for more from All Sports Central.